Thank you. Right.
Are you suggesting that someone's trying to make a real-life sequel?
Stab 2? Who'd want to do that? Sequels suck.
Two in the box!
Ready to go.
We be fast and
They be slow.
Wow. A second Super Saiyan? Second in order, perhaps, but by no means in stature. Your fight is with me now.
I'll have my revenge. And Deathstalker too.
Man, I can't fucking believe this. Another basement, another elevator. How can the same shit happen to the same guy twice?
Oh, please, please. By definition alone, they're inferior films.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inside the Sequel, the podcast where we talk about sequel movies that don't get enough love or attention that they deserve. And we talk about them on here and I give them the praise and make recommendations for you. I'm your host, as always, Chris Hurtado. And today I have a very special guest on a very special episode. Today we're talking about the 2010 sequel, Predators.
What's the last thing you remembered? All of a sudden there was a light, and then I was falling.
Who are you?
I was in combat.
Black Ops.
Yakuza.
Who would do this to us?
We're being hunted. This planet is a game preserve. And we're the game. Predators.
And when we talk about Predators, I had a few people in mind, but I kind of figured it's been a while since we had this guy on and he's been doing really good stuff. And I know in the past, he's kind of stanned this movie and we're all about stan and slandering on this pod. So without further, I have Matt feasting on Bledsoe. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, Chris. I appreciate that unique intro. I was wondering where that was going to go. I might change my Twitter handle to that now. That was
It kind of gives me Army Hammer vibes now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, well,
though.
that I don't like. Yeah, maybe not then. But no, just feasting on movies, I think. That's not people like Army Hammer may or may not be, allegedly. I say for legal reasons. But yeah, thanks for having me back on the show. I feel like it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been, I think the last time we did something was back in, I think Thanksgiving. So no, probably soon. I don't know. I'm drunk, so I can't
remember. Time's a blur.
All I know is you've been doing really great lately on your pod, Film Feast. So I'm excited to have you back on here and love to catch up and let me know what you've been doing, man. Like besides thirsting over Crash from what I last heard.
Oh god. Yes, our David Cronenberg Crash episode. Yeah, that was the most awkward I've ever been on a podcast. Thank God Carmelita was there to steer the ship.
It's weird how I mean it's weird how like erotic I got. Or is that a word? Erotic?
That's a word.
Erect? Yeah.
Well, both are words. I don't know.
It was a hot episode. It made me want to get in a car, oddly enough, before anything else.
Hopefully not crash it into something or anything. I mean, Film Feast is going well. Thank you for the kind words. Going strong, I think. Trying episodes every week. I mean, it's a grind, but it's fun. We're wrapping up our Tony Scott Unscottable series pretty soon in August. It's the last 2 episodes, and that's been our big thing. I don't know if there'll be like another ongoing series. I don't think there will be. I think I might just keep doing, random stuff all the time. But I mean, it's still fun. So that's the most important thing. So going strong, talking to great people, having a good time. So it's all good.
I oddly want you to do a series on cannibal films since it's called the Film Feast podcast, and you just talk about feasting on humans.
The funny, I know you're joking, but the funny thing is, like, I don't like cannibal movies. So
Does anyone?
I mean, I don't know. Somebody does. They put out Cannibal Holocaust in some kind of special 4-disc edition from whoever put that out. But somebody must like those movies. I don't even want to. Like, I've heard about them. I don't want to watch them. I've seen clips. I've heard about them. I don't want to even see them. So maybe we can talk about movies that involve food. Maybe that could be a thing.
That could be kind of interesting, and then you could spin it one episode like, I'm talking about Cannibal Ferox actually today. Hope you're hungry.
Just slip a cannibal episode in there. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, but dude, I've been loving your podcast. It's definitely one of my favorites to tune into all the time. You had Carmelita, which, I mean, if you want a recipe for a great episode, you have her on easily. So
I mean,
the fact you talked about Cronenberg with her, and I remember Daniel and I did the Fly episode with her, the remake with Cronenberg, and that was so fun. And I learned so much about Cronenberg. So I don't know, are you going to plan on talking about ever more Cronenberg? Definitely have her on again, because that was such a fun episode.
Yeah, I think maybe it came up in the episode or afterwards. I was like, we should do another Cronenberg movie sometime. I think it came up, but yeah, we definitely should, because we're both pretty big fans. And I saw an episode too. It's funny because I really thought I was not a Cronenberg guy for a long time, and then I saw some more of his stuff. I'm like, oh no, he's really good. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I started with the wrong movies or something. But yeah, I think we'll do some more Cronenberg in the future. So
Nice.
yeah.
Or if you really want to, get on my good side, you just talk about more Canadian horror films like that. That'll be good.
Like Curtains and I'm totally blanking on other Canadian horror films right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about this small time like podcaster, Mitch Oliver, who runs the Terror Table, but I think he's a fan of like Canadian slashers. He might be somebody you want to reach out to. You might be able to give him a platform for that too.
I know he needs a platform. No, no, we love Mitch, but yeah, I should ask Mitch about great Canadian horror movies. They must have done that on Terror Table by now, right? Something like great best Canadian horror movies.
I don't know.
That's fine. We'll ask about it.
So, I mean, what else have you been watching? I mean, especially like I took 6 months off, and then like I came back on where I just kind of wanted to just watch movies and stuff that weren't for podcasting and such. What about for you? Like, what have you been watching lately? That's like not for the podcast, like I see your letterbox, so I kind of know, but some people who haven't subbed to your letterbox might not know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's been a lot lately of watching stuff for podcasts. That's so it is nice. Like you say, you took that break. Whenever I have like a break to like, I'm a little lost though. When I don't have a podcast to prepare for, I'm like, I don't know what to watch because I can watch anything. And like, I mean, trying to think. I've been on a Wong Kar-wai kick. I've been talking about that a little bit. Wong Kar-wai's films, Chungking Express.
This is
Fallen
inside
Angels.
this. Yeah, this is inside the sequel. This isn't like the Nathan Jones YouTube channel,
So only okay. Well, speaking of sequels, I
Just
rewatched
kidding.
Infinity War and Endgame. So there you go.
You're
was a
still
great
feeding
time.
into the MCO machine, huh?
I'll still feed the MCU machine. That stuff's great. I was watching that again because I was feeling a little slightly burned out on like Marvel content, and then I watched those movies. And I'm like, this still works for me like crazy. This is still great. All kinds of random stuff. I don't know, like
Yeah, the wrong
it's hard to say. Wong Kar-wai.
Wong Kar-wai films. Yeah, I hear those are very well regarded. What kind of got you into wanting to watch those besides feeling superior?
Well, that was the main drive. Just I wanted to feel better than people by watching foreign films. No, I don't even remember. I think somebody brought it up on a podcast, and then I was like, oh, I should watch his movies. And then there are a bunch of them on HBO Max, and I was watching them there. And then I was like, these are good. So I just kept watching more. And oh, this should make you happy. I'm trying to watch more Godard movies. I feel like you're a Godard guy, right? You're squinting.
Yeah,
at
he's
me.
cool. He's
Okay.
cool. He's cool. If you watch any French films, that's usually good. I highly recommend the Melville films now over the Godard. I used to be more Godard, and I read more about him, watched a little bit more of his stuff, and he's just too experimental for me. And there's just so much better French films. But that's cool that you're getting into him.
Yeah, I've been on a weird kick like since the end of June because this movie did like June exploitation, where it's all like exploitation type movies, and then after that, I felt like I was like hungry for like classier stuff, air quotes. Like I don't know, I'm usually not in that mood either, but I was like, I want to watch some foreign films, like I want to go watch some Criterion type stuff. And I got my pipe and my robe, and I was feeling really snooty, and it's like I don't know why I've been in that mood to watch like different kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I was looking for sequels we were talking about, but I really haven't watched any sequels.
It's okay. I barely watch any sequels. No, dude, you can just admit it was because the Barnes and Noble Criterion sale. Like I know you're thirsting over that sale. Yeah, I mean
that's a big deal. Yeah, that's
it's when everyone pretends they've been all about the avant-garde films, and then start lecturing everyone on Twitter about it.
It's my next step is my lecturing.
Hey, crazy thought, but Bergman's kind of an underrated director when you think about films. Like, you think about it, Bergman's kind of underrated, and so is Kurosawa. Like, maybe overrated. Like he hasn't done an Infinity War, so like, where does he measure up?
Oh man, I feel like I'm not. Yeah, you're true. I feel like I heard somebody say recently about Kurosawa on Twitter that they were like, I think this guy's, they say he's overrated, underrated. Oh, now I'm messing up the story. Something about Kurosawa that made no sense. Everyone was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I think they said he was. I think they said he was overrated, and
Mhm.
people were very upset.
So we're talking about Predators from 2010. Um, it's one of those movies, Matt, where I was thinking about it when I was getting ready. It's not from Robert Rodriguez, but it says brought to you by Robert Rodriguez. And I
Right.
can't help but think, or I'm actually happy that we live in a world now where movie trailers and movie promotions aren't from the guys or from the studio that brought you these things anymore. Because, like, honestly, in hindsight, that shit is so cheesy and it's like so lazy promotions for video movies. I
The
hate it.
worst. I'm so glad you brought this up. This is a huge pet peeve of mine because I think most people watching trailers in a theater won't catch what they're doing because they're just throwing like a name of a popular thing at you, but it's always in small letters too. It's like from a producer of something or like from a guy who drove by the set one day of something. And it's like, wait a minute, you can't just say like Endgame, Avengers Endgame on the screen and say like the guy who catered the movie worked on this movie. It's like they try to like fool people. They throw the big popular movie. And they put like I saw recently they did something where it's like from a producer of, and it was so like lightly connected, and I was like, that's such bullshit. Like it really makes me mad because it's like they're just trying to fool people. But
Mhm.
I mean, if it's like from the director of, that's obviously much more closely. That's much more of a close like connection. But like the farther you get, it's like like it just drives me nuts because they're just trying to like fool people, trick people into seeing something. But yeah, they promoted Predators like it was directed by Rodriguez, but it is
Mhm.
not. It's like he is producer, wrote up the original script, and yeah, they really pushed it like it was his movie. I felt like they kind of hid who the real director was.
Yeah, because like the real director, when I when I see like some of his works, I don't recognize him. It's I think he did like a Stranger Things episode. I think that's really all he's really done that I can kind of gather. Nimrod Antel.
Uh-huh.
I know he's Hungarian. But yeah, he hasn't really done. Oh, he did Vacancy in 2007. Did you see Vacancy?
I did see Vacancy. I liked Vacancy. He did that movie Armored, which I've never seen, but I heard it's a pretty decent like action movie. Like it's just kind of straightforward action movie that's pretty entertaining. But yeah,
That's
beyond
weird. It's
that,
not on the it's not been on the Undisputed podcast. That's interesting.
I'll have to ask about that. But yeah, man, besides those movies, he really hasn't done many movies, a lot of TV.
Yeah, and the fact that he kind of got this the Predators movie is kind of interesting. It's kind of like when Gareth Edwards got to do like Godzilla probably. Again, I don't know why he always comes up on my podcast. But he did like monsters and not too many other things before after that, and then he gets to do Godzilla, and then he does Rogue One. So, you know,
Just going upwards. Yeah, I guess I watched a YouTube video, funny enough, about some guy was doing like a retrospective on Predators and said Robert Rodriguez just liked a movie Nimrod Antal did called Control, which I don't think I guess was a Hungarian movie. And he just saw that and was like, this will be the guy because Rodriguez was too busy with Machete around the
Mhm.
time to direct this. So yeah, I guess he just saw that and liked it. And, he seems like a
Interesting.
serviceable director. Like he seems like one of those guys that's like a solid director, if not spectacular, which, like, he'll get the job done basically.
He's kind of like Johan Roberts now, who did that 47 meters down movies and then Welcome to Raccoon City. Just a guy you can tag on to do a competent job, and sometimes he'll turn in something really good.
Oh yeah. Did he also do the Strangers sequel?
Yeah, he did, which I didn't see.
Oh, I like that movie a lot. I know a lot of people are mixed on that movie, but I thought it was pretty fun. It was more like a straightforward slasher than the first
Home Invasion.
Strangers.
Oh, okay. Then maybe I might
Yeah.
like it then, because I don't like home invasion movies.
I don't either. They freak me out. I'm like, I don't need to see this. Like, I don't need this in my mind.
Mhm. The closest thing I ever got to a home invasion is when Nathan Jones just like nonchalantly showed up at my apartment one night and just rung the doorbell.
If that's the closest you've been to a home invasion, that sounds like you got off pretty lucky.
Well, the thing is, it still traumatizes me. So shout out Nathan for
Oh.
that one. But yeah, it's weird that I thought for a long time Rodriguez like helped with it, but I think he only just put money towards it. I really just think, or he looked over the script. I don't think he really did much else except also get Danny Trejo to come on for the movie.
Well, I didn't learn this till again I watched that video that Robert Rodriguez had been tapped like in the mid '90s to write a new Predators movie to follow up Predator 2 because they were disappointed in Predator 2, and it kind of got shelved. It didn't go through. They wanted Arnold back, and Arnold was like, "I'm good. I don't want to come back." And so the script got put away for like 15 years. I guess it's made it sound like they just found it at the studio, and they were like, "Oh, we have this Robert Rodriguez Predator script. Should we dust this off?" And they called him and were like, "Would you want to be involved in this?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be involved, but I'm not going to direct because I'm busy, but he'll produce it." And they took his script and like redid a bunch of it. And he was on the set a lot, and they shot it at part of it at his studio in Austin, Troublemaker Studios. So I think he was one of those like pretty hands-on producers without actually directing the movie. I think is what I got. But yeah, he was still just busy with other stuff going on. But I kind of wish he had directed it though.
I was gonna say, in hindsight, maybe he probably should have done that instead of Machete, but I do like the Machete movies.
I do like the first Machete. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just couldn't believe what I was watching, you know? Because
Well, yeah,
Machete was always like this rumored kind of movie that probably would never see the light of day. And then they do it, and I was like, wow, it's actually kind of fun. Robert De Niro and Steven Seagal, you know, like that's kind of cool.
I remember liking the first one a lot. I think I saw Machete Kills, but I don't remember anything about it. And it's like, I don't know if I liked it or not. But I mean, I was excited that was happening because I love that trailer in Grindhouse, and then we get a full version of Machete. And it's funny because in the script, I guess the first script, Rodriguez had written one of the characters was like a Danny Trejo type guy, and then Danny Trejo saw that and was like, "Well, I'm a Danny Trejo type guy." and that's how we end up in this movie.
Right.
And not to jump ahead too much, but I am sad that he's like the first one that goes. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, Danny Trejo.
It's
Like, why?
fitting. It's fitting. Of course he would be, but also like it does really suck. The Predators came out 2010. Honestly, like it was a good time probably for Predator because the character of Predator just kind of went through some bad movies, I would say. Like Predator,
I would say
like
so.
Predators 2 is serviceable, you know, like that's fine.
I do really like Predator 2. I like Predator 2. I was thinking of Alien versus Predator, those two movies.
It's weird. I like Alien vs Predator more than Predator 2.
Oh no.
But I'm also just a Paul W.S. Anderson guy, like hard.
I get it.
Yeah. And it looks like a video game, and I love movies that look like video games.
That's also true. It does look like a video game.
Yeah. But
I will
Alien vs.
never forget. Sorry, we saw
Go
Alien
ahead.
vs Predator in the theater. We were so excited and laughing hysterically at the shot of the Predator, and I cannot remember the main woman. It might be Sanaa Lathan, the main actress in the movie, running from an explosion in slow motion together, like they were in a buddy cop movie. And like it just made my friends laugh so hard. It just looks so ridiculous of like her and the Predator running in slow motion with an explosion behind them. Like they had teamed up. Like I don't know. I kind of want to rewatch those movies, but I never get around to it.
Just rewatch the first Alien vs Predator. I mean, that moment in that scene where Predator accepts her, it's just like reals recognize real, baby. You know, like that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. What do you think of Requiem?
I mean, it stands to this day as one of the ugliest and darkest looking movie. I say this with a lot of movies where it's like I can't see shit when I watch it. It's like when I watch Black Panther, like when Killmonger's fighting T'Challa, I'm like, I can't see shit, dude. Like it's so dark. Like I don't know, where was the lighting team there?
They took the day off. Alien vs Predator Requiem is like, I still to this day think it's the darkest movie I've ever seen in my life. And my friend had just bought a new TV and we were watching it. And I was like, dude, I can't see anything. And then when I left his house, he did say he had the brightness turned way down because he just got the didn't mess with the settings yet. But then I rewatched it and it was still super dark. I was like, no, it's lit by like 2 candles and a flashlight. I don't know what happened. Like, it's insane. Like, and I think it could have been a much better movie. I mean, first of all, if it was lit properly, because the Predator's like the hero of that movie, like by default. It's it's interesting, but it's just it's a mess. But yeah, it's insane how dark, how badly lit that movie
Yeah,
is.
but I'm such a sucker for these versus movies, like two different movie properties
Yeah.
go. Yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for those. But
I
Requiem by
understand.
like it just like it's I can't see anything in that fucking movie. Like not even like it's like when a movie's poorly lit, when there's bad lighting, which is my big complaint with like MCU movies with CGI, like with the newest Thor movie, when it's Thor the Dark World, no pun intended, but like I mean their movies are so dark, like I can't see any of the blobby things they're fighting. And same thing with this one, but it's also the equivalent of like when directors put like action sequences in their movies and they just have the shaky cam going like so fast, and it's like quick cuts and flashes, and it's like I can't actually see who's punching who and like what item just got like a blade just got shown. I can't see it, it's moving so fast. Big examples of that are like I mean the last two Resident Evil movies probably. When I watched The Cave recently, I like The Cave, but I mean the camera moves so fast when those CGI monsters are attacking, I can't actually see what's going on. But yeah, that's like pet peeve movie things for this. Like when I watch movies, like those are things that really tick me off. Because it's like just like slow-mo it at that point then. Like I don't need it to go super fast.
Yeah, I'm with you. Those are my pet peeves too. And I know they do it just to hide things that, if you have actors that, well, sometimes it's sad too because the actors put in the work and train and then they still chop their fight scenes up to shit. And it's like, why'd you do that to them? They worked really hard. It's just weird. I don't know why they do it, like to hide stuff, like they're not confident in what they shot or something. And I don't know. It's a mess. Like, it's funny you brought up Resident Evil: The Final Chapter too, because okay, if Alien vs Predator Requiem was the darkest lit movie I've ever seen, I feel like Final Chapter may be the worst edited movie I've ever seen. I thought I was gonna have a seizure in the theater because it was like boom, 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 boom. Like it's just so, it's like every 0.5 seconds there's a cut, and I can't even comprehend what I'm looking at. Like I saw someone defend that movie recently, and I was like, what? Like I couldn't like, and I like that series for the most part. Like especially the middle entries, I feel like I really enjoy. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I like it.
Taking note.
Take the note. It's I mean, I remember liking 4 a lot. I used to like 2 more. 2 was the good. 5 is fun, but then like Final Chapter is like was such a mess. I was like, I can't even tell what's happening. It's just it's so choppy, and like someone put that scene where she's on like the truck fighting the bad guy. It's just like a cut every second or shorter than that. It's bananas how
it's
badly
crazy, man. It's crazy. I know Mark Warner just gets unhinged on Letterboxd sometimes with those reviews for his movies. I'm sorry you fell into one of those.
Oh man, I think he'll appreciate being called unhinged. I think he would like that.
Oh yeah. He probably gave Unhinged a 4.5-star movie and said Russell Crowe's in a movie. That's film, baby. Review. God, I love his reviews. What a guy. What a gem of a guy.
What a gem. I realize I say baby a lot more just because of Mark. Like I'll be like, it's pretty cool, baby. Like I just have to throw that in. But yeah, Mark's fantastic. I don't know how he feels about Final Chapters. I know he likes the Resident Evil movies for the most part, I think.
He's never active on Twitter, so I need him to like tweet his like opinions on that movie. Just cold turkey it, like just drop it as a random tweet.
Yeah, just drop it and leave.
Okay, so Predators,
right?
2010. Yeah. When the movie first came out, I actually was really excited. I remember when it was like, I remember the trailer for it. I remember my big thing was Adrien Brody's in this.
He's an action star. Yeah.
I was like, man, King Kong, like he was good in it, but he wasn't an action star. He was like the romantic type for sure. But which I love him in that movie, by the way. But when he was in Predators, I was like, first of all, where the hell has this guy been? And then 2, it's like interesting choice. And I remember the trailer being like getting like, it's called Predators, and they get the most like badass people. Like they get like a Russian, they get like a cartel, they get a sniper, they get a mercenary, they get all these trope of tough people in the real world together. And then they go, we're being hunted. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, the badasses are getting hunted. This is going to be a crazy ass movie. And I remember renting it at Family Video, and I want to get into it, but I really enjoyed it. Like the first time I watched it, I always was like, this is like a better movie than Predator 2, in my opinion. And this is like a really cool take of the Predator character. Because it feels more of a sci-fi movie than an action movie, if that makes sense. Because they're in a different planet, alien species. The action segments aren't just human versus human. It's, so I really like it. It's a very good return to the original Predator in some aspects.
Yeah, it's definitely got way more in common with the first Predator than any other, like Alien vs. Predator or Predator 2. I was super excited for it too, because I mean, we've been burned so bad on the Alien vs. Predator movies, how I felt. And I like the series, and I'm like, the series has so much potential, and you could drop the Predator into like any kind of scenario and it would be good. And they just had, I'm like, okay, cool. This looks Adrien Brody action star. I was a little bit like, well, that's different and interesting, but I was really excited. The trailer was really good. If I remember, there is something that happens in the trailer that I'm still upset is not in the movie. That was like the end of the trailer with Adrien Brody standing there, and he has like tons of little like Predator targeting sights on him. In the movie, it's only one. Do you remember this? Yeah, it was
I do remember that.
And they cut it. They manipulated that and added a bunch of like extra Predator. You said he has like 10 Predator target sights on him, and in the movie it's only one. But yeah, I was pretty excited because I was like, okay, this looks like it shares a little bit with the first Predator, but it's doing something a little different. And yeah, I was very hyped for it when it came out. Like I was all in the theater. And I'm curious if this is like the first time inside the sequel that somebody's been like, yeah, I ride or die for that movie. I like that movie. And then they come on and say, it doesn't quite play for me the same way anymore. Because this time I was like, this didn't work as well as I remember in the past. I still like it, but like I've been running around for the past like 10 plus years saying like, man, Predators is super underrated, guys. Like it's great. You gotta, and now I'm like, it's pretty good. Like it does things. There's some more cracks in the armor that I didn't really pay attention to before, because I came out pretty hyped on it. And this time I was like, oh, this is not as good as I remember it being. Although I still like it. But yeah, I just was like, ooh, yeah.
I think that's every guest that comes on here,
Okay.
honestly. But no, I think, yes, the Predator films, God, that first one's so good. But it's just a franchise where it's tough to get past the first one. Like that's the hurdle. Like I like for me, it goes probably Predator, Predators, Alien vs. Predator, Predator 2, and then The Predator, and then Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Yeah.
For anything until Prey comes out, which is another reason I was excited for this, because Prey's about to come out next month on Hulu.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That looks good.
But I just like how Predators is just so different in terms of like the cast, the angles they take. It sets the precedent for that Shane Black ends up doing with The Predator, with introducing different types of predators.
I like that. Yeah.
and I mean, I like the setting, but it doesn't age as well, for sure. I would say, I don't know. What were some cracks in the armor for you? I'm curious, because like I didn't think it was a 4-star movie by any means, but I still think it's a movie. I think when people talk about Predator, it's only Predator 1 and 2. I don't think people talk about Predators as much as I wish they did, because I think it's a good movie. But yeah, it's definitely not like this, uncovered gem. You know what I mean? Uncut gem.
I mean,
did I use that term?
I think it's a different thing, but I was walking around for a while saying I like this better than Predator 2, and I've completely changed my mind on that. So now I'd probably go, probably straight down the line. So I'd probably go Predator 1, Predator 2, this one, The Predator, which I'm still very disappointed in. Like I was really excited for that movie too, but yeah, I think the middle section of the movie really dies for me. Like the part when they meet Lawrence Fishburne, and I don't know if I love what he's doing or hate what he's doing, because he's like really doing like, I'm crazy. And okay, one thing I want to say about Lawrence Fishburne is like, so he says he's been on this place for 10 hunting seasons or cycles, which we don't really know how long that is. That could be 10 years, 10 months, maybe hunting cycles only like a few months. I don't know. It seems like a long time because he's talking to himself. He's gone nuts. I don't want to body shame, but if you've been stuck on like an island or whatever that is, wouldn't you be like thinner? Because I just watched Stranger Things and David Harbour had lost a bunch of weight. He'd been in that prison for like, I don't know how long, 10 months. And Lawrence Fishburne looks like he's been finding food every day. I feel bad.
Boy's eating good.
I'm just saying, maybe he's eating Predator. I don't know what he's doing, but like I felt like Lawrence Fishburne was like, they probably said, "Hey Lawrence, can you lose some weight for the role to like because you're gonna be stranded on an island." He was like, "I'm not doing that for you guys." Like he's like, "No, I'm good." I just thought it was interesting that if he's been stuck in this place for so long, he'd be like real like skinny looking, I imagine, because there's I don't know, he's scrounging for food, he's like a scavenger. The whole section with him beyond that just like doesn't work as well when they kind of sit in his little house and just kind of like and I did kind of laugh this time. It was almost like a parody. This is another issue I have with like Adrien Brody. Every time something would happen, he'd be the guy they'd cut to, and it'd be like he know exactly what was going on immediately. He's like, oh, they're hunting us for sport, and then like he would know like they sent the dogs out. He just like knows, and it was like every time. And I almost feel like this time, because I kind of defended his performance before, I thought he was good as an action star. He's almost, I think I do see him trying too hard to be like a cool tough guy. Like this time, like, I feel like every line's really like gravelly, like they're hunting us. Like it's everything's very dramatic. I don't know, like physically, I think he gets there. Like I think seems like a like you could believe he's like a tough military guy, but like yeah, it's a little almost too over the top with him like trying to be like the tough alpha of the group. So and there's some I feel there's like wasted potential in this too. I don't know, like, but I do like the stuff you said with like different predators. Like they have predator hunting dogs, stuff like that. But like, but yeah, but my issues are kind of stuff like I think that middle section's kind of rough. The Adrien Brody thing is a little too much for me now. But yeah, those are like my main complaints, I think.
That's so interesting. I do agree though. The Lawrence Fishburne thing is kind of like, that's it just kind of at first I always remembered it being kind of interesting that someone survived the predators because like, you know, usually the ones who survive are like accepted by them, you know, but he's just more of like a stowaway, it feels like. I do think it dies with him when he shows up in the movie. It doesn't really do anything at all. And he dies so quickly and unceremoniously as well.
Yeah,
it feels like
yeah.
he's doing the same thing. And have you seen Colony with him or The Colony?
No.
He's in it and he kind of plays a similar type of character. A little crazy, you know, it feels like that. Feels like also like he does the same thing in John Wick 3 Parabellum, kind of like a weird performance like that.
But I like him so much more in that. I think he's more fun in that. This is
Yeah.
kind of fun, but it's like I don't know. The movie does pick back up again for like the last act, but I think that part with him in the middle is kind of like ooh. I do love the opening, how it just drops you in cold, like smash cut to like Adrien Brody like falling from the sky, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like I really enjoy that opening.
No, I agree. I do think though the strong point of this movie is the cast though. I think Adrien Brody could not carry this movie by himself. Like he's just like
right.
You know, like I mean Dutch Arnold Schwarzenegger had a great supporting cast, but he could ultimately I think carry that movie by himself if he wanted to, but it's so much more elevated because it's not him and he's got a great ensemble. Predator 2 I mean I don't feel like I like Danny Glover, but like I don't think he actually carries the movie, but I don't think I like that he had to carry the movie the way he did, you know, outside of just having what's his name in it. Why am I blanking on his name? Bill Paxton, yeah. You know, I almost said Bill Pullman in a Predator.
I know
movie.
it's an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, which I like him, but like it just doesn't fit as well. But in this one, again, it kind of goes back to an ensemble cast. I think that's what the Predator, on top of a bunch of other things I don't like in that movie, the ensemble just wasn't as great. You know, I just didn't care for the cast very much. But in this, I mean, you get Topher Grace, Alice Braga from Elysium is in it, and City of God, I think she was in, and then Danny Trejo, obviously, Mahershala Ali. Which
two-time Academy Award winner, Mahershala Ali.
Completely forgot he was in it. Even at first, I didn't recognize him. And then when they did a close-up with him and Walton Goggin, I was like...
Yes, Walton Goggins is great. These are all people I didn't know who they were in 2010, too. Like, I don't think I knew who Alice Braga was. I don't think I knew who Walton Goggins was, really. And Mahershala Ali, I definitely didn't know who he was. Like, they were all like people maybe I'd seen pop up and stuff. I didn't know their names. And now I'm looking back at this cast, and I'm like, you have two Academy Award winners, Adrien Brody and Mahershala Ali. You've got Walton Goggins, who I could have sworn was nominated for an award, but he's just in Tarantino movies. But yes, like I thought he got nominated for Hateful Eight, but he's great. Alice Braga's great. Danny Trejo always great. Trying to think like, and the people that I don't still really know that well were the Russian guy like him, who I always think looks like, oh God, what's his name? He was in Inception.
Oh, I
Uh,
haven't seen Inception yet.
have you never seen Inception? Really?
Really.
Wow. We gotta get you on Film Piece talking about Inception or something. I was
I think
like,
Daniel's been trying to get me to watch it, and I'm just like, eh.
man, I cannot think of who I'm thinking the Russian guy looks like, but I'll find it. But yeah, it's Tom Berenger is what I'm thinking of. He looks like Tom Berenger.
Oh, good.
Um,
Yeah, he looks like a chubby Tom Berenger.
well, Tom Berenger is always a little bigger guy. He's like a big burly guy, I feel like, especially later in his career.
Yeah.
The Yakuza guy is super cool.
Oh,
My
he was
God,
probably one of the best parts of this movie for me.
yes. The one of my favorite moments in any Predator movie is when the Yakuza guy, I feel bad I look up his name, but he meets the Predator, one of the Predators in like that open field, the grass at night, and they have like basically a sword fight there. And the Predator's like, okay, you want to do a sword fight? And pops his blade out. And it's such a well shot, cool sequence. Like
Mhm.
just I'm like, I love this. That still works for me like really well. I think that's super cool.
Yeah.
Um
It's
more
such a
stuff like
pull from
that.
the first Predator movie, though, with Billy and the Predator.
Oh yeah, kind of. But I feel like this is done a little better. Honestly, I feel like
Mhm.
this is more memorable. Like, um, I feel like it just looks really good. It's a cool
Mhm.
moment about how I love how the Predators have like their kind of like system of honor where they're like, okay, if you have a blade, I'll have a blade, and it's like I'll fight you one on one. Like the Predator's like, let's do this. So
Yeah.
and it's a pretty nice looking sequence. His name's Luis Ozawa. Hanzo was the character's name. I forgot his name was Hanzo, but yeah, that whole sequence is really cool. And it's funny because people criticize the movie for having like kind of thin character types. Like, but the
Mhm.
first Predator, we don't really know those guys that well. They're just good personalities. Like, we don't get to know them super well. They're just a bunch of tough guys.
Right.
So this one, I feel like that's not a complaint for me. If it's like, oh, they're kind of one dimensional. It's like, well,
Mhm.
how much time do we have to get to know these people?
Pretty
So
much, honestly. And it's weird that Adrien Brody's the one who kind of leads them all. You know what I mean?
right, yeah,
And I just still that's still a casting choice that I respect, but like it was such a risk, I feel like I would have been
yeah,
like sweating like I don't know. Like, okay, let's see what he does. And he just kind
yeah,
of it's weird. Adrian Brody, like when he wants to be on, he can be on, but it's so thin when he like with his work. You know what I mean?
yeah. He's got a weird career, that guy. I feel like
Hmm.
a lot of ups and downs, like real high highs and some low lows. But he like when he wants to be good, yeah, I feel like he's really good. He's definitely trying, I feel like, in this movie. I just think it's a little over the top with like how tough they want him to be. It's
Right.
like,
I think it's so weird how the movie, like you said, the movie does open cold. One, yeah, it does work, but two, it's like it's like an hour 30. I think it's a pretty quick movie, but I love how it doesn't take any time. Like it explains what's going on while progressing the movie. It doesn't stop and just explain everything all at once, which I really like. Like they're just casually meeting everyone and getting the cast all together. I like that instead of them like already been together or like they were enemies and now they're working together. Instead, they're like, oh, we're all in this situation. Let's get out of it. And then throughout the movie, you get the POV shots of the predator watching them most of the time. That's
mhm.
really cool. The traps are brutal, like the things that the tactics they use to like toy with them and everything. Very, very well done. And I kind of feel like that's how the Predator movies should always be. Like it shows some sort of integration of like the Predator in like their tactics or their weaponry and stuff like that. Because I feel like all the time with Predator movies we get, they have the blades right here, they have the bomb, and they have the little gun, and that's about it. Or the net,
Mhm.
you
Oh,
know.
in the net. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, but they're setting up like booby traps. They have hunting dogs. They have all this other crap. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious your thoughts on this too. Like, I just love the Predator, like the design of him, like the
Mhm.
backstory, how they keep weaving in all these things about like the kind of hierarchy of predators. Like, there's some predators that are kind of lower, I feel like, on the totem pole than others. Like in this movie, even there's like the older design predators like strung up on a pole, and there's like bigger, tougher predators that have kind of like almost where they pushed him out, like,
Mhm.
and their whole system of just kind of how they hunt for sports and like but they kind of have that honor system too, like it comes on Predator 2 as well, with like where like Danny Glover kind of like beats their predator at the end, and they don't kill him, they're just like, here, here's this old gun, and like we're gonna let you live. Like
Yeah.
if you beat them fair and square, they're gonna be like, okay, cool, you beat us, like you bested our guy in combat. There you go. It's very honorable, which I appreciate.
Mhm.
Just one of the coolest like creature designs ever in movies, I feel like. And yeah, I do. I mean, I like what they do here with the new Predator. I don't totally love the look of it, but I like the idea of it. Like his mouth
Yeah.
is a little weird, but like the idea of it is cool. Predators fighting each other. There's just, I mean, again, so much you can do with the Predator, and I feel like they've left so much on the table with like dropping him into like they could drop in so many scenarios. Like someone had the
Mhm.
idea a long time ago to like do a Purge movie where the Predator shows up on Earth that night, which I still would pay so much money to see that movie. But stuff like
Mhm.
that where you can just like find a scenario, plug in the Predator, and there you go. So yeah, I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm so interested in like their whole system and how they operate and all that stuff. And the hunting dog's a cool touch, and they have their hunting planet. It's like the hunting seasons and all that. So I find it all very cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I in the movies just because the characters they don't like each other, but they all work together, and then they form some sort of bond. Of like we need to get out of here alive and stuff like that. I think it's kind of funny. It's like these hard ass people, and then they're like, "Oh, we gotta work together to get out of here." And Adrien Brody's like, "Yeah, well, I'm gonna do my own thing, and good luck with that, and then follow me back once it, blows up in your face."
Right.
I kind of like that, but also I did find it a little silly where they're like, "We got to work together now," even though our governments are killing each other constantly and like hiring us to kill each other.
Right. I don't know. I'd probably be scared too if I found us like on an alien planet. When they figure out they're on an alien world, it's like, okay, maybe we should like reconsider some things.
Yeah,
'Cause,
they
like,
handle it really well though. They're like, "Oh, this isn't any planet we're in. I think these are aliens killing us. No
they,
biggie."
they do take that really well, don't they? I
Mhm.
think that might be another thing that doesn't quite work for me in the movie anymore because I don't remember how they marketed it with like if we knew they were on Earth or on an alien planet, because like now that they're on the predator hunting world, like the first 20-ish minutes or so where they're kind of still trying to figure it out is kind of like, well, we already know what's going on, so
Mhm.
it's not as interesting, I guess. But you're kind of
Mhm.
figuring out along with them in the beginning because they're really just, I mean, they wake up falling from the sky with parachutes on, and then they land in this weird place, all these people, and then what's going on. So that was more interesting before, and now I'm kind of like, okay, I know what's going on. I'm not as as interested in
Mhm.
you guys figuring it out, but just one other like nitpick, I guess you could say.
I like the sequences in action movies where there's always like some sort of sequence or set piece where one of the cast members are going to die. It seems like every like set piece there's a
Oh,
cast
yeah.
member that dies till they get to like 3 or 4, and then like in the third act they get picked off very unceremoniously. I like how this movie kind of does that. Unfortunately, Danny Trejo is the first to die, which really sucks, but it's a very grisly death.
Oh, yeah, and
Um
it's creepy. They do the voice. They have like they're
yeah.
mimicking his voice because
Mhm.
Alice Braga shoots him and then tries to walk away, and you still hear him talking. You're like, holy shit, what's going on?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah, that it's kind of creepy actually.
Yeah. And then they get like Topher Grace and his character in this movie. I'm still wondering like the thought process and having like him backstab people that are protecting him in some way.
I'm curious your thoughts on Topher Grace this movie because that really threw me off the first time, and I'm gonna admit I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know why he was
Mhm.
there. I thought it was maybe like the Predators maybe like throwing them a bone, like we're gonna have to put a doctor with you to keep you guys going.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking maybe it was like, let's see how this normal person does amongst all these like mercenaries. And I feel stupid. I didn't figure it out that he's like a serial killer, I guess is his
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how did they know that he was a serial killer? Like, was he like on America's Most Wanted or something like that? You know,
I don't
like when did
know.
they pick him up and realize, oh, he's actually this sick, sadistic, bastard. Um, but it is kind of an odd choice in a way, but also it's like Topher Grace. It's like he does this, he does Black Klansman and stuff, and he's Eddie Brock. And it's like, man, he just really plays really good, shitty people.
Yeah, which is weird because I always think from him on that '70s show as like the likable main character. And
Hmm.
I don't think I'm a big Topher Grace fan, but then like I think he does pretty good in this movie because he plays it very much like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I'm innocent, but then can like he turns it when he turns to Alice Braga, but and then don't like him as Venom. I never liked him in Spider-Man 3, but he's good in Black Klansman. You mentioned, I forgot he was in that movie. He's really good in that.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's an interesting actor, but yeah, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I'm a big fan of him, but yeah, I think he's pretty good in this, and it's an interesting wrinkle to the whole thing to have like, I guess the Predators were like, oh, let's throw in somebody who could maybe like sneak into the group and like kill them in more of a quiet way. Like it's a very different kind of killer than all those other people.
Mhm.
So maybe they just thought it'd be interesting to throw them in the mix, see what happens. I don't know. The Predators are like,
Right.
fuck it, let's see what
Right.
happens.
There's also romance in this movie, which when she was explaining like their legend about like the predator on her on Earth and stuff like that, for some reason I thought that she was connecting it to the girl from the first Predator movie. And I
Right.
was like, but that movie takes place in Cambodia. And she's like from, I think she says Honduras or Guatemala is where she said she's from in the movie. So I was like, wait, how does this legend exist then? You know what I mean? So I was a little confused with that. And I thought it was like a weird tie-in because it also has like an original looking predator, which they handle very well when they see it also.
Yeah. Again, they handle things pretty well in this movie. Like
Mhm.
they're not super blown away by things that are happening. Yeah, I remember they kind of shoehorned that story into connect to the first Predator, which they probably didn't even need to do. I didn't mind it.
Mhm.
And I feel that I very stupidly in the theater thought like it was like, wait, was she that girl? I was like, wait a minute, no, that doesn't make sense time wise or age wise. But
Mhm.
I had a brief thing of like, wait, what? Yeah, because they say like one guy survived, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He told the story, and I'm like,
Yep.
okay, I guess some tying it in is fine. But it almost is like the point where it's like so little, it's like why even bother? But I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm fine. It's so minor. It's like it doesn't bother me, and it's like it's fine. Nice little nod to the first one is fine. So yeah,
Yeah. Which I think this movie in a whole is just a nod to the first one. Like it takes
yeah,
place in a forest. It's got like this badass group of people. Except they're just not killing other people like in the first one. You know what I mean? Um, and there's nobody doing like strange things like Duke in the first one where he's just shaving for fun when he's anxious. You
yeah,
don't get
with
anything like
no
that.
shaving cream. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Um,
uh,
but I mean, it's weird. Like the cast works really well. The characters are interesting enough, but then they have oddities like a weird romance, like with Alice and Adrian Brody in this movie. And then there's like the Russian guy decides to help Topher Grace, and then Topher Grace wants to turn against them. And then Mahershala and Bogan have like they're like beef for some random reason.
uh-huh.
I can't help it. It's something about racism of some sorts. I feel like,
Felt that way, but it wasn't like really explained very well. Like,
yeah, but then they're like
yeah.
friends and not friends, and it seems like a very toxic environment. Yeah, I mean, when I just like the idea when I'm watching this. It's like the Predators go to Earth and they just find like Earth's mightiest heroes, and then they decide to grab this group, and they're like, we're
Yeah,
gonna
they're
get an
like,
escaped convict out of America's Most Wanted and a serial killer that nobody has identified yet because he's so good at it. And you know what I mean?
yeah, I like the idea of the predators like handpicking and choosing who's going to be there. Like they're going through like a meeting and it's like, no, not him, but yes, him. And they push a button
Mhm.
and it's like, um, just a funny idea of them sitting around like a meeting, like, yeah, that guy and that girl. And yeah, the weird thing about Predators is like, it's, it's like too close to the original, but not. I think when you put your Predator movie in a jungle, you've already done your movie like a disservice because I think the first one is so good. And like, just don't go back to the jungle. Like, just leave. Like, go somewhere else. Go to a different location. I know it's a different planet, but it's still the same kind of environment. Um, that the movie, yeah, maybe the fault is like I feel like it's got a lot of potential, but isn't like reach its potential because it's still kind of pulling back to the first Predator too much, and it's like not doing its own thing enough. Because then like the climax with Adrian Brody is like straight up lifted from the first movie, and it's like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just kind of like wanting to do its own thing, but relying too much on the first Predator, and yeah, I don't know. It's what it's
It's
like. It feels like missed potential for me.
it plays it a little too safe, but it
Yeah, yeah.
also has like some really defining moments that make it unique for sure. like Adrian, like yeah, so like they're kind of going through the jungle, and it seems like each little challenge that they get is to see who's worthy of surviving, basically, until you get to the Lawrence Fishburne thing, and then it kind of falls on the wayside a little bit, and then they realize there's a ship on the planet.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then they decide to heist it. And then Topher Grace decides, like, this is the moment where, you know, I turn on everybody, and Adrien Brody channels in his own Dutch, and he, you know, they never realize like how their technology works, like in the first movie where they're like, you can't see me, or in this one they just don't figure that out. They just try to confuse it by running circles on it and home aloneing their own camp, and then he decides to like give trust to the other predator like it's, you know, pitch black or something, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of borrowed things in this, but it kind of works in a goofy way. I think it does a better job of being like action packed and also kind of like looking at its audience like, yeah, we know it's kind of silly, but you're having a good time, right? You know, it's kind of like what Expendables was trying to do but missed completely. But yeah, I think there's some good points, but yeah, it just borrows way too much from the first one. So by default, I have to compare it to it, and it just doesn't work. But it's inventive enough.
Yeah, I mean, there's new stuff there, like they said, the hunting dogs and the different kinds of predators, and like it's a lot of stuff. It's a weird mixed bag. It's like there's still stuff I really like, and there's still stuff that's kind of like, it doesn't work for me. And like it's funny you mentioned the romance between Adrien Brody and Alison Bra, because I feel like that's another example of like, we're not going to fully commit to this. Like they might have some chemistry, but it's like, and he goes back for her, but I don't feel like it's a full on like love story, you know, I guess, which is probably better, because it might have been kind of corny if the end they like, you know, kissed under the predator ship or something. It's like, and then it's just like them. I mean, I'm kind of curious how the hell they're going to get off that planet, because the ship they are going to steal just gets blown up, and then it's the two of them left, and then they see more people dropping in. So I guess more ships will come, but it's like, then I'm like, how the hell you going to pilot a predator ship? Because I can't tell what any of that stuff means. They have like symbols. The predators have like these little symbols, and I'm like just pushing buttons and hope I go back to Earth. Like I could blow the ship up. Yeah, everything kind of feels like a little too safe, like you said, which is like kind of frustrating, because I feel like there's like a lot of potential here, and it like holds itself back from like really going nuts. There are some good death scenes. I want to. Mahershala Ali's death scene really threw me for a loop this time. I forgot he gets messed up. I was like, oh no. I was like, Mahershala, no.
That was an Oscar-defining moment for him right there, too, I would say.
It was. That should have been his first Oscar, but yeah, he gets messed up. Walton Goggins has a pretty good death scene. Like I said,
it's weird how their relationship is kind of like the Green Book in a way, before Green Book came out.
The basis of Green Books and Predators from 2010. That'd be great. The Hanzo, the Yakuza guy, goes out pretty well. Like they all get good moments when they're gonna die, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I was watching it too, and I was like, oh shit, I think I'm gonna struggle for things to say about this movie with Chris, because like it's kind of straightforward, and like I don't know. And I liked it more.
Is it called Predators because there's multiple predators, or is it because the humans are predators now?
Oh, it could be both.
Yeah.
It could be both. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for Prey, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, I will say Prey looks very promising. I think it's cool though with I don't know how big you are with Predator in like the Dark Horse comics and like the things that were big in the 90s, kind of like Spawn in a way, with like the graphic novels and comics being super popular, and, you know, making them go into the mainstream pop culture for its time. But Predator, I really didn't read the comics. I knew like there was variations of Predator, and that's mostly what I saw on film. But I feel like with Predators, it kind of opens up the book of like, you know, we talked about before recording about NECA figures and stuff like that. I mean, NECA is basically an excuse to put out a bunch of different looking Predator figures. Is really what it comes down to. Like you get all these movie figures and stuff like that, but like they have a hard on for putting out random Predator figures. Like they put out like a bunch of Jasons because there's a lot of Friday the 13th, but they put a shit ton of Predator figures out besides from the movies. Like from graphic novels or like interpretations and stuff like that. And in this movie, I think with the bigger Predator coming out, I don't know if that's like in a comic book or something. And there was probably some MCU equivalent Predator fan in the movie theater was like, oh, that's the Predator from this issue of the Dark Horse comics, you know? But I
Probably.
think it's kind of cool. Like I'm thinking, like with Prey, is it going to be like the traditional Predator we saw from the first movie, or is it going to be a completely different one? You kind of see him sprinkled like an Alien versus Predator as well. I don't know. I just kind of like that aspect of just like, you know, being a fan of movies and like creature designs. You know, it seems like they're always up in the ante with Predator.
Yeah, and I'm by no means an expert on those Dark Horse comics, like from the 90s, I believe, like the Predator comics. I think they're probably still going now, but like I remember wanting to read them and I feel like I wasn't allowed or something. I don't know. I did somehow get a Batman versus Predator comic that I thought was like the coolest thing ever, where the Predator come to Gotham City to hunt and then Batman has to track it down, which is a very cool idea. Like I'm like, sign me up for that movie. But I know those Predator comics are pretty well regarded. People think they're really good material. Like that's what I'm saying. There's like a lot of like Predator stories to like to take from, I think, to make into movies, but they haven't done it enough. Yeah, I don't know. I need to go back and kind of look at those. They'd probably be pretty good, I think, those Predator comics, because I know people are big fans. So they have a cult following. So yeah.
Yeah, it's weird there's not a cinematic universe of Predators yet.
I don't know. I guess Alien versus Predator is like their cinematic universe because there's crossover there now. Like they established like they're in the same universe. That was a huge deal in Predator 2 when you saw like the alien skull on the wall of that ship. It was like, oh, it exists in the same universe. Like
that's the only time in a theater I felt like these MCU nerds at the post-credit scenes.
It's the only time.
Yeah.
Oh,
most pause moments for me growing up on watching movies on VHS. Most pause moments were Predator 2 when I see the alien skull and when Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio are getting painted, or when he's painting her. Most pause moments for me.
Oh, I get it. I understand. It has to be those two. But yeah, no, that's not the comics. I'm sure I go back and read those. I'm sure there's some great stories in there that they could tell. They have not yet, so I don't know. But
yeah, it is interesting though, because I like Predators. I think it's the second best until Prey. I really think Prey is going to be good, and it's going to be like what Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022 did, where it's like it shoots up the list for people and it brings people back to this franchise of sorts. You know, I feel like Prey is going to do that.
I have high hopes. I know people are worried because they put it on Hulu, but
Pig
I just feel
Hulu.
like, well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like they are probably just kind of scared because like Predators actually did well, but I think the Predator, Shane Black's Predator, underperformed. So I think they're a little nervous about putting another Predator movie out in theaters. But like, I don't know. Like I have high hopes for it, so I'm hoping it's good. I got a good feeling about Prey, so hopefully we're right. But yeah, we'll see.
What about that post-credit scene in The Predator, though? I know we're not here to talk about that movie, but man, that post-credit scene.
How did that just come up recently? With the what's the last like you got this in a 42 long or something? And it's like, oh god, like I don't care. Like it's not I do not like that post-credit scene in The Predator. They were really trying there. Like, we're gonna give him a cool suit to hunt predators, and did not work out. So yeah, I don't know. The less said about that post-credit scene, the better, I think.
Yeah, I wonder if Prey's gonna be like it's Prometheus, like what Prometheus did for the Alien franchise. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe I'd be curious where it goes. I mean, obviously it's set in the past because it's like a Native American tribe in the I think they said the 1700s or something, maybe the 1600s. Like it's like set in the past. I'd be curious how it ties into any other Predator movie. I don't know. I just hope it's good. That's all I want. Just give me a good movie, and then hopefully, if it's really good and well received, we'll get more Predator movies, which is all I want. So yeah,
it's weird how in Alien movies we get like the origin of the life cycle of the xenomorph and just the aliens in general. I don't know how the Predators reproduce. Like, are they packing shmee, or like they get freaky with those like tentacle horn thingies? Like, at least with Alien, I know their reproductive system. So if I ever want to get funky with one, I know. But with Predator, I have no idea. Are they all guys? The life cycle Are they asexual?
The aliens. I mean,
if they're asexual, they have more in common with film Twitter than I actually thought, you know?
Oh man.
Wow, I just offended a lot of people. I'm sorry.
Oh man. I mean, all the joking aside, that's a good question because I don't know, and it's probably somewhere in like books or comic books about like how the predators are born and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Like, um, I don't know. I got to Google this now, where the predators
Yeah.
come from, because yeah, we know the whole freaking life cycle of aliens from birth to death and how they come to be, but like, I don't know how predators are born. I can't. Are the predators getting on with each other? I don't know. Are they are they laying eggs? What's
Yeah.
going on? Yeah.
If Prey does good, they need to do something bigger with Predator after that. They need to do like 10,000 BC meets the Prey. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I
uh-huh.
that's how I need it to be. Need like a
Yeah.
whole space thing. Like I don't know. Like yeah, like you said, Predator can work in so many scenarios. And for me, I think going back in time with more primitive human times sounds a lot cooler than more like action star big guns. You know, which I think the first Predator is cool. Do you think Danny Glover was like a big muscle guy when he did Predator 2? Because I don't feel like he really is. And we
No,
haven't gotten
no.
anyone like Dutch since the first one.
Um, yeah, no, I think Predator 2 was all about trying to do the opposite of what they did in Predator 1, which I appreciate. Like,
Mhm.
instead of a jungle, it's the city. Instead of like Arnold who's a big, meathead type guy, they go Danny Glover,
Mhm.
who's much more a normal person. I don't think he's bulked up at all. And
It's like Action Jackson versus the Predator. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it's I love him too because he seems like he's very tired in that movie, and like he seems like a normal human being who's dealing with this, and so goddamn sweaty. Like Predator 2 was one of the sweatiest, hottest movies ever. I mean, it's set during a heat wave in LA, but like, um, yeah, he just seems like he's. I mean, like, to quote Lethal Weapon, he's too old for this shit. Like chasing the predator around the city, like that man just wants to go home and have dinner. Like he is not here to
Mhm.
put up with this shit. He's tired. It's hot out. So I like they go the complete opposite direction from like Arnold to like normal guy Danny Glover. So yeah,
Yeah, it's I again, I think Predator is it's a good movie. I was like you where I was excited for it. I still enjoyed it. I think it holds up, but I don't think it's as rewatchable as I was hoping it was going to be. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. Actually, that's funny. It's like
Because
you, yeah.
I think people need to watch it and then like give it it's kind of its due because I don't think it was given. You know, I think when we in the state of what Predator is at now, I think it's just still where the Predator is, you know, where it's like, oh God. Um I like to forget that movie in some aspects and just think about Predators and then think, oh yeah, we left it on a good spot. But also 2010, early 2010s was just like good time for like movies, like especially like these action sci-fi type movies. Um
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
it would
feel
have
the
been cool
exact same
to
way you do. Oh, sorry, guys.
I was gonna say it would have been really cool if Robert Rodriguez did come back and do one like with himself, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if it would have been a better movie if he directed it. Like,
Mhm.
I'm with you though. Like, I think there's a lot of people who bash it really badly and think it's terrible. I don't think Predators is terrible at all. Like,
Mhm.
it's like right in the middle for me now. It's like
It's like the strongest 3 out of 5 star movie on Letterboxd for me.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like I thought I was gonna rewatch it. It's not as rewatchable as I thought it was. And then
Yeah.
I would almost went like 3.5, 4 stars. And I came down like to a really solid 3 stars. I'm like, you're a really
Mhm.
solid 3-star movie, plenty of good stuff. I think people are too hard on it. I saw a lot of like 2-star, 1-star reviews, like bashing
Crazy.
it. And I don't think it's that bad at all. It didn't hold up like I wanted to, which happens sometimes. You revisit a movie and you're like, oh shit, this isn't as good as my memory of it. But it's still
Mhm.
good. It's still plenty of stuff to enjoy, especially if you like the Predator series at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just a little disappointing on the rewatch where I was like, oh, okay, there's some stuff that I didn't like as much. But
Mhm.
no, it's still a fun time. It's still very entertaining. I think it moves really well. The cast is very good. You'll watch the cast and be like, oh, there's that person I know and that person and that person. And like there's so many recognizable faces, good actors too. So um yeah, definitely worth seeing. At least give a second chance to if you saw it in the theaters and like hated it or something and
Mhm.
watch it again. It's on Hulu. It's go check it out there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
right. I mean, and plus the cover was super cool. I remember seeing that cover, and it's like they're all in like this little arrow, you know, of sorts. Like they're all left and
Oh,
right of each other, and then like they have like the red background. Oh man, I think the promotion for this movie was strong. You know,
I
I
think
feel like a
so, yeah.
lot of movies don't get pushed hard like this movie was. You know what I mean? Like this is gonna be this crazy movie. Um, and it came out at a time when like part fours of movies were coming out, like not legacy sequels, but like kind of like before that, kind of like what Scream was doing, almost like a remake of sorts, like a restart, refresh kind of. That's what Predators feels like in some way. And I feel like that was the trend when this movie was coming out.
Huh. Well, this was the time. At first I was like, I don't know, but no, this was the time when they were like rebooting all these horror franchises specifically, because there's like you get the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which I really don't like. You get Friday 13th reboot from the year before, like 09 to like maybe 08, 09, 2010, 2011. I think 2010 it kind of stopped, but there was a lot of like rebooting of franchises, and like Predators definitely falls into this weird like horror action sci-fi blend. It's kind of all those things. So yeah, they probably were like, all these other franchises come back, let's bring back Predator. So yeah, that poster, I looked at the poster again because I forgot, but it is really cool actually. And I think they did market it pretty well. I remember the trailer playing a lot before it came out, and I liked the trailer, even though it lied to me, but it's still a good trailer. But it got me hyped. I was like, this looks cool. Even I was like, Adrien Brody action star, sure. So okay, I'm on board. So they did, and it made money. Thankfully, it did good. So I mean, that's good. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think again, I didn't know there was so much bashing towards this movie, so it makes me want to like it more. But also, it's like I can't like it any more than I do. It was the one I was the most excited to talk about, like I said at the beginning of the episode, because I mean, there's so many good things, but then there's some things, but then it's like just the fact to talk about it, like again, I guess there is just maybe I just really thought people just didn't see this movie, or people were like disappointed it wasn't Robert Rodriguez, so they just didn't watch it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, that's good. That's good. But when it comes to like, I mean, sci-fi franchises, we don't get really anything like that besides like Alien or Predator. And even with Alien, like I don't know what's going on with that franchise right now anymore. Like
yeah, I'm completely lost on where that franchise is. Like, is
Mhm.
Ridley Scott making another one? Are they making another one without Ridley Scott? I don't know. There's a TV series I think coming. Like, very
Mhm.
confused where that franchise is at. It's
weird that these 80s sci-fi franchises are, which I feel like there's so many options to make it good. They just are they're on pause right now, like, or they're doing things like what Terminator does, where they're just putting out way too many, and it just there's no direction at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like beating a franchise to death, basically.
Yeah.
But like, I think they've spread out the Predator enough that they're not like really killing the franchise. Like, we had two movies really close together, and then they waited like 20 years for Predators, and they waited almost 10 more years for the Predator, and now Prey's coming out like 3 or 4 years later, and so I don't think they've like beaten this franchise to death yet, thankfully. Like, there's still life in it, but yeah.
It'd be cool if I wonder if they're going to keep naming Predator movies other things besides just Predator, because this one's called Prey. Now, is one like, are they going to just throw something else like A Predator or Those Predators?
It's a Predator. Like, look at those predators.
Hunt.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I hate that they're so scared of putting numbers on movies. Like Scream is doing this now, where like I have to fucking refer to like Scream 5 as just it's Scream. Like, what's Scream 5? Call it 5. Like, we don't care. Like, just put the number on it. Like this, I wish they just gone like Predator 3, Predator 4. Now we be on Predator 5. Like, it's fine. Like, I know they really are scared of that, but like, it doesn't bother me. I don't care. It's like, just put a number on it. It's fine.
It's so weird that you're actually having conversations about the 2022 Scream movie still. Like, I thought everyone was done talking about it. It's weird. Are you having these conversations with people?
I mean, no, this is the first time I brought it up.
You like this movie, Matt?
I did like that movie.
No,
I did. I mean, it's my fourth favorite in the franchise out of 5. So that's, but I still liked it. I like all the Scream movies to one degree or another, but
I can't wait to go on Twitter and be like, guess what, everyone? Matt Bledsoe likes Scream 2022.
Oh, you could. It's fine. I'll stand by it.
I need to just screenshot a picture of you and just bash you and be like, this guy has the worst takes ever. Looks like it too. Or whatever bullying on Twitter goes on. I don't.
And he's trying to front by watching Wong Kar-wai and Godard movies, like he's some kind of cinephile.
I love when I have you on. We're just subtweeting film Twitter in general. And they love me for it.
It's fair. They probably deserve it.
Yeah, and then I feel like what movies that were like, look, they love me when he's looking down. Is that Topher
Oh, yeah.
Grace? No. Who is that?
I
What
don't-
movie is that? But like, look
I
at them.
can't.
Oh, it is Tobey Maguire. He's like, look, they love me.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't think of what you're
Spider-Man
talking
3. Yeah. Wow. I'm pulling out references out my ass. Anyway, what Vinegar Syndrome porn movie are you gonna buy in the next sale when it's Black Friday, Matt?
about.
Just,
Should I finally buy Sex World in 4K?
I mean, I could sell it to you if you want. It's in
No,
mint
I'm okay.
condition, washed
do-
and splooged on once.
Oh, only once? What is
Only once.
What can you please make that side podcast you joked about called the porn supremacy? It's my favorite idea anyone's had for a podcast in like years.
I thought about it, but I think when I try to make the website, I think the domain name was already bought. So I think
Well,
someone's plotting
Makes
right
sense.
now.
Yeah. The porn supremacy was
Yeah.
I was really happy with that one. That was good.
Thank you. Oh God. Yeah. And then I'm gonna make one episode where I just talk about the depravity of the porn industry and how I'm in a really, really dark place right now. And my favorite genre of movies right now are these indie movies that like showcase how bleak the porn industry is. And it's like I just tweet, these are my comfort films. Like I was talking to
Wow,
Mitch
yeah.
Oliver, and he was talking about this indie movie about this porn star, and like she just documents like how sad and the industry is and what people do in it. And I was like, yeah, this sounds like a comfort movie for sure. Can't wait.
Total comfort watch. Curl up in
Yeah.
a blanket, throw that
Yeah.
on, feel bad
Red
about
Ro-
everything.
Red Rocket seems like so much fun.
Oh, man.
Goodness. Anyway, we've talked a lot about, man, maybe this Corona break episode you did really, got on me because it's like, man, I am just talking about sick sadistic sex things. Gross.
Oh, it's not that bad. I mean, I don't think we've been that crazy about besides asking how the predator reproduces, maybe. I don't know.
I think that's a legitimate question, and I won't
That's a very
apologize
legitimate
for
question.
it.
I can't wait to Google that when this is over and find out how they get it,
Oh
it
yeah.
on. When they go to some weird sites that
It'll be- It'll be weird after this episode posts and like the trending Google search is predator genitalia. Which actually, if you Google search that might look very bad, like on your search history.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
when
wanna...
employers look at that.
yeah. I didn't think
Yeah.
about that. Like, oof. Yeah.
Goodness. You think there's a predator porn parody? Because there should be.
Oh, I'm 100% sure. there
Actually, that
is.
sounds very scary too.
I'm sure there's one where it's like the predator and the xenomorph are getting it on. Like, I'm sure somebody's made this. Like,
Sometimes when I watch Alien vs Predator and when Alien like curls its tail close to the predator, I wish they just kissed.
just chanting in the theater, kiss, kiss, kiss. It's like, just kiss already. Oh man.
Let's see. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Is there anything that's been catching like your eye, or like, is there something you want to tell the listeners to look out for on your podcast? It sounds like you're going to be on the Terror Table relatively soon, which it's weird. When somebody gets on the Terror Table, it's like, he's made it. He's going to be on the Terror Table.
I do feel like they're a big deal up there, but no, I don't know if that's even happening anytime soon. I know Mitch and I have talked about it. I hope I'm not. I hope it's okay to share that. It's probably fine. But
Spoilers, dude. You're like those trailers, man.
I know I'm giving away too much, but no, I feel like I do have a lot of guest appearances coming up. Like, I'm gonna be on Cult Movies with Anthony. I'm going to be on the Film Strip podcast, I think in October. We recorded it, but it's like a horror October episode. It's a lot going on. And then my stuff's going to be like, we're going to finish up Unscottable in August. And then September is probably kind of light for me because I have a super busy October. Like, I'm going out of town. My sister has her wedding in the middle of the month. It's going to be, there's a lot happening in October. So I have to record a bunch of like our horror October episodes in September, so kind of prep for that. So I don't know. There's a lot happening, but I think September might be a little light on new episodes. But we're just prepping for October. But yeah, gonna keep chugging along every Monday, new Film Feast episodes. So
when are you gonna do a Film Feast episode that centers around food?
I don't know. We did do the Thanksgiving episode last year, although I don't know if
true.
either one of us were eating.
No, but you need to talk about a movie that's centered around food.
That's true. That's true. I should do like Chef, Jon Favreau's Chef. That's a good one.
The Hunger Games would be a good one too.
Oh, the Hunger Games. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those movies though. Never seen the Hunger
Well, they're
Games.
making a new one, so you get the
perfect
buzz
time
on
to
that.
catch up. But no, one day I should do like a food. We should do like movies that your favorite movies about food or something, or you know. But
and
it's
then
an idea.
somebody's gonna go, underrated movie, but it's in the collection. Babette's Feast is a really good movie about food. And My Dinner with Andre.
Oh yeah, haven't seen either one of those movies, so I guess I'm not a real cinephile. But yeah, we're just chugging along on Film Feast. So I mean, it's still fun. Love talking to people about movies. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to bring up or plug. I can't think of anything. So.
No, I think a lot of people know Matt on the Film Feast podcast, but if you haven't subscribed to it, it's on Spotify, it's at iTunes. Definitely just check him out. Follow him on Twitter as well for his takes. I like your takes on Twitter as well. Fighting the good fight.
Thank you. I don't post very much, so I feel like when I do, it's like I try to make it count.
It's weird. I see when you like certain things, I'm like, oh, so that's what Matt's thinking right now. It's like, oh, there's the Bledsoe liked tweet there.
Yeah, a lot of other people. I feel like I don't compose tweets very well. I see people say things just how I want to say them, but they said it better. I'm like, oh yeah, like okay, that's what I want to say. You said it perfectly. I don't have to tweet now. Good. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, I definitely recommend people check that out. If you like this episode or any of our episodes that we've done this month, go ahead and give us a comment on our iTunes page. Those always help. Share with your friends as well. You can follow us, of course, on Spotify and on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter as well. But other than that, Matt, man, thanks for hopping on and talk about Predator and like sci-fi movies. It's really fun, man.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. It was a good time.
We'll have you on soon, and good luck with your next stuff, your next projects. But if you're a fan of the show, definitely tune in for next month. Keep a look on our Twitter page. We're announcing our next episodes for the month of August as well. And if you ever have suggestions or you'd like to be on the show, always email us at sequelpod@gmail.com. Really appreciate that. But other than that, if you aren't standing Adrien Brody as an action star, do you really care about cinema? Other than that, we'll see you next time.